Okay, well, first of all, and I might make some people upset because, I'm overwhelmed because there's so much.
He's so excited to share all of this with you.
Okay.
Look at him.
Well, welcome back to Open to Truth, a podcast all about exploring big ideas and discovering truth together. My name's Clint.
Hey, I'm Tony. Welcome back.
And hey, gang, I just made a discovery. It's pretty cool. So I floated this idea of doing a little episode on current events.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I want to talk about the slap.
Yeah.
You know?
No, immediately.
Which if you know what I mean, right? The slap.
Everyone knows what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I rolled my eyes because, like, look, I've seen all the memes. I get it. Will Smith slapped him, and when I first saw it, I've only really seen the slap. I was pretty convinced this is just theater. It looked like he made the sound effect by hitting his own chest, and I just kind of thought,
I said, what?
This is the Oscars.
You said, watch it again. I'm like,
yeah.
Yes.
I was like, watch it again.
We should.
Because he's just, look, it seems so fake to me.
So we did the full context of his previous joke and then how it ended.
And now my opinion has maybe changed a little bit. I had not seen him, I had not heard him shouting
the two yells
after the slap. I'd seen the memes about it, but I wasn't even sure that they were quoting him necessarily. But keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. Mm-hmm. He seemed pretty upset there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now I'm not as convinced that it was all theater as I was before. It seemed like Will might have genuinely been upset.
Yeah, I think so.
You were telling me the other day about how the Oscars is dead. Didn't that come up in a podcast? You're like, well, you know what happened to the Oscars. And I was like, no. And you're like, exactly, man, exactly.
Funny. That's funny that was the example I
used
of an irrelevant.
Exactly. So then I was like, well, their viewership's been declining.
They just did it to drum
planned
up.
a little slap thing. But I'll say Chris's awkwardness after actually is what sold me. His speechlessness. He just didn't quite know how to proceed.
Yeah.
And
well,
I found
it didn't even
convincing.
make sense. Like greatest night in television, or like he just was
bad
trying
segue.
to come up with something.
He was flustered. Yeah.
Okay, so is there a chance that someone doesn't know, and I should just do a quick minute recap?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the 2022 Oscars, a few weeks ago now. Mm-hmm. So we've all had time to breathe. We for sure have to do the episode now, because Tony now is one of the few people that have not yet seen the video from start to finish. So you just saw it.
I just saw it from start to finish.
His is all really fresh.
It's really fresh for me. And just to be clear, here's what I'm hoping. This is not like a gossip podcast, right? So
No.
I really am hoping you've got some good reason for us to be talking about it. Because to me, it felt like the kind of thing you'd see in a gossip mag, and I just don't care about what's going on with celebrities.
I think it's super important and raises really good philosophical questions.
Great. Okay. Good. So now explain it to people who haven't seen it.
So at the Oscars, most of the people that are nominated to win the big awards are down front. Mm-hmm. They kind of have the loge luxury seating because they need to be able to walk up on stage. So Will Smith is nominated for King Richard, I believe this is the name of the film. And so he's sitting pretty close. I think no one is in between the stage and he, if not maybe one person, but he's
close,
super close, where he can walk right up onto the thing. Chris Rock, they have comedians come on, and kind of the point of bringing the comedians on, because you can imagine an Oscars that's total absolute decorum,
just dry,
but they know that it's not going to connect with the audience of everyday Americans and all this pomp. There's a little bit of that, but you bring on the comedians to kind of like
take the edge off, and
they're gonna
poke fun, right?
Yes,
it's a bit of a roast.
They are going to roast the celebrities, in particular the nominees.
Yeah. That's part of the shtick.
That's important because you know that going in. Like if you're Will Smith, I'm gonna get a little bit of heat, and hopefully it's all in good fun or whatever, but
nothing too personal, hopefully, or too real.
So Chris Rock is going. He's doing a number of other people. He's getting them a little bit, and then he says to Jada, who is Will Smith's Jada Pinkett Smith, is Will Smith's wife, and she has shaved her head. She's in this big glorious green dress, and he says, I'm not going to quote it exactly, like G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
G.I. Jane 1, Demi Moore, has shaved her head for the role. She's in the military. Okay.
Great.
So I don't know, just kind of a
Dumb joke
goofy little dad joke
about you shaved your head.
Yeah. And so and now the camera cuts to the couple, Will and Jada. Will's laughing.
He laughs. I did see that.
Will laughs.
Now I don't know. Did he understand the joke and laugh, or he just?
Yes.
Because like I still don't really get the joke. You
Okay.
just explained it, and I still don't really know what you're talking about. Haha, she's bald. Is that the joke?
Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
There was this movie where a woman shaved her head for the role.
Yeah.
And here's a shaved-headed woman.
Great.
What if there's a sequel?
What a gag. Classic
Yeah.
gag. Okay.
That's not that good.
No, I thought maybe Will was laughing out of politeness of like, punchline delivered. Ha ha ha, but I didn't get
No,
it.
he got it.
He gets it.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe in the spirit of the room, it's a little bit more funny and you're in the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
But Jada's like
She rolls her eyes.
rolls her eyes. Will Smith looks over and something shifts.
Yeah.
Will starts to walk up on stage and he's kind of got a little bit of a swagger,
Little
but
bit.
not telegraphing that it's about to go down. And everyone watching, myself included, I saw it live, and a lot of the other celebrities have said like we thought this was part of the gag,
Me too.
like it was a script. Yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
Me
Yeah.
too. Till just a few minutes ago.
Thought it was a scripted thing, like and not the slap that's
Yeah.
coming, but even just him going up
Getting
onto
up.
the stage.
Yeah.
They thought like, oh, he's gonna like, I don't know, like, hey, you don't do that or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because Chris is like, oh, Richard, here he comes, calling him his character that he's nominated for.
Oh, okay.
What are you about to do? And what's so crazy, man, is he doesn't telegraph it. It's
He
not
doesn't.
wind
It's
up.
very quick
This
slap.
is someone who knows
He knows how to
do this.
slap.
And he just delivers this effing monster slap.
Yeah.
And Chris is totally
Yeah.
thrown off. Yeah. And marches back to his seat. Chris is stunned. He's like, whoa, I just got Will Smith just slapped the S out of me.
Yeah.
And then Will Smith gets back to his seat, and you can tell his voice is shaking.
Yeah.
He's visibly like boisterous.
He's worked
Get
up.
your wife's name out your mouth.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, oh my God. And he repeats
He
it.
repeats it. That's the thing. He repeated it.
And he's like, I'm going to, man. I'm
It's
going
all
to
good.
keep the name out.
Gonna go on to other jokes now, like I would have anyway.
Okay, so that's the incident.
Yeah, that's what happened. Now, why do you care about it? Do you care about anything else that happens at the Oscars or in Hollywood? Why has this one been like, that's significant? That's worth talking about.
Here's a number. There's a lot. There's so much.
Awesome.
I can.
Please, no, I need you to, because I.
Okay, well, first of all, and I might make some people upset because, I'm overwhelmed because there's so much.
He's so excited to share all of this with you.
Okay.
Look at him.
Well, by
deep
me
breath.
describing some topics, it will indicate where I stand on the matter.
Okay.
So, well, let me just say it out front. I think it's completely unacceptable what Will Smith did.
Yeah,
There's
no justification.
that's wild.
It was.
It's physical assault.
Oh, okay. Well, so you saying that though has already taken a stance in what has become a public, very strong a disagreement.
Did I say something? Am I wrong? Was it not assault to hit someone in the head? What
Well,
world are we living
It
in?
depends why you're doing it. You're defending your wife's honor.
Oh, please. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
doesn't have the patience for it. That is what erupted online. I want a man like Will that would protect me like that, would defend my honor.
Oh.
There are legions of online and famous
Guys.
blue checked Twitter people.
I
saying
want a
that.
husband who has no sense of humor. What?
Yeah, man, I would call it assault as well. And so here's one, just a fascinating feature of this is it was a public worldwide assault where nothing happened to the person who did it.
Yeah.
Like he stayed throughout the entire event.
Yeah, security didn't get involved
He
at all.
wasn't. No, he wasn't escorted out of the
Are
building.
we sure it wasn't staged, man?
He won the Oscar later that evening
Had to give a
for
speech.
Best Actor and gave a very weird apology
Did he?
to everyone but Chris.
Okay.
I'm sorry to the Academy. I hope you have me back. Sorry to the people that he was portraying in the film, or like the family. That like I'm sorry to the other winners that like this is going to overshadow. your accomplishments, which is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's another huge like outcome is all. Yeah,
That's all I've heard about the Oscars.
no one has cared about.
I don't know anyone else who won.
And there's like some like, I guess some like groundbreaking film. Like it was the first deaf actor or film that like won awards. Coda. There was some other like firsts, I
Yep.
guess that no one has talked at all about because of this.
First slap too.
And so that alone like raises a lot of interesting legal questions.
Yeah.
So like, do you now go to jail or like how does this work? Because you did the bad thing.
I can't do that. Like I can't do that in Panera.
No.
If someone makes a joke about my wife, I can't just go hit them in the head.
So it says something culturally about what we do with our celebrity and what the status of those people are. Are they above the law in some ways? Is it up to Chris to press charges? Because he decided not to.
I mean, yeah, it would be, right? Isn't that how
I don't
it goes?
know if that's true, man. Like,
I don't know the law.
I literally
straight
don't
up
know the law.
Yeah.
But I can wonder what it should be. And even if the person was okay with me hitting them, that's now not like, doesn't the public have an interest in hitters not walking free unpunished?
Yeah. Or
I do. I haven't. I don't want that.
yeah. No, you're right.
Even if I wasn't the one getting hit.
What would it take for security to escort somebody?
Great.
So if he had done a leg sweep and punched Chris in the face like 4 times, then does security get involved? Probably, right?
Guess who gets escorted out if that happens? Chris Pratt. If a white man gets up.
Oh, sure.
So that's that's worth bringing up.
Oh, you're
we
right.
can all imagine what would have happened if a white person had got up and slapped Chris Rock. Whole different feel.
The whole narrative would be different, wouldn't it?
I don't think any of the people. Now, this may seem too much, but I want to go out on a limb and say most of the people that support Will Smith would not support Chris Pratt
Interesting.
because of the color of the skin.
You might be right, man.
They would not say, I want a man like Chris Pratt that would defend me like he defended his wife or whatever.
Oh, man, it would be really bad
That'd
if
be
Chris
really,
did that.
really bad.
Yeah, it would not go over well.
Okay. So,
Okay, all right, it's getting more interesting. The more we dive in, I see now why you want to
now here's
talk
one that
about
I think you'll really enjoy. When is a slap deserved or a hit?
Great.
Now I do feel like there's something different between this and the fist.
And can I say, it was one slap and then he immediately walked away. If it was assault, like, he wasn't sticking around to keep on hurting, you know? It was a retort.
It was meant to humiliate and disrespect. It was not trying to battle.
Yeah. He wasn't trying to put him in the
immediate
hospital.
walk away says something itself, you know.
Yeah. Cool guys don't look at explosions. Yeah.
And just to bring it, and maybe more specifically to hone the question on not just broad violence, but comedy. Are there some jokes that warrant a physical outburst?
No. Well, my gut says no. Especially if you have voluntarily gone to a place of comedy and now you're upset with the comedy you're hearing, leave. It's not on you. I mean, that's on you. You showed up. You knew what you were getting into. It's fair game. Don't hit the guy who's telling jokes.
Yeah.
He's there to tell jokes.
I think if Will Smith had either afterwards or during the break gone backstage and said the same exact thing to Chris afterwards, I don't know if anyone would be that mad at him for it.
Well, keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the F word.
Sure.
Yeah.
If it was done in private as a...
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no problem with that.
And potentially even during this ceremony, if that was the response, purely the verbal.
People heckle. That happens.
Well, heckling is like, I'm trying to mess with you and throw you off your game, right?
Or it's like, I don't think you're funny. Be funnier. And I'm going to antagonize you until you are.
Yeah.
So it's something of a heckle. Because I didn't like that joke.
Yeah.
Don't joke in that way again.
I mean, I don't know if there is any. I just don't think that should be how our civilization is. to me,
And
like
it
what I
shouldn't
was
be
saying
any what?
before to convince you that we should talk about this
Yeah.
was something like it was an eerie, like death knell of comedy. That something so like it's not that digging of a joke. Now let's
I've
put.
definitely heard more offensive
Now I don't know if you've
jokes.
heard this piece because you are so fresh to it.
Yeah, maybe
there
not.
is there is an added thing, and that is that Jada, like, clinically has alopecia, which is a hair loss thing, which is why she shaved her head. So another question then is, does it matter whether Chris knew that fact or not? To know the illness,
it changes what he's doing with the joke a little bit if he knew it, I reckon. But I still don't think it invalidates the joke. Like,
or
in that I don't think it makes it off limits. I don't think joking about somebody's sickness is necessarily off limits. Now, maybe in places it's inappropriate. I can think of situations where, yeah, man, don't joke right now. It's a heavy vibe in the room and we're all grieving.
yeah, like on a cancer ward,
Exactly.
Or something. I don't know.
But at the same time, I do think there's tremendous power in being able to laugh about your ailments at times. Like, I know a guy he's got quite advanced MS and is in a wheelchair and has been for a long time, and he cracks jokes constantly about his condition, and so does his family. They all know. And when I first met them, it struck me as cruel. Like this, I'm talking about Joe and his dad, but like he would set down a drink with a straw just out of reach of his dad, so his dad couldn't quite reach it. And like, that was horrific to me as an outsider. I'm like, dude, be nicer to your father. But to them, it's a coping mechanism, actually, for them. If we can joke about it, then it's not going to destroy us and we can still be laughing. So yeah, I wouldn't say that it makes it immediately off limits. Right. Now, I don't know. I'm guessing Chris doesn't have some relationship with Jada, but your question, the bigger question of what are the limits of comedy? Are there some things that should never be joked about? I've heard some interesting takes on comedy where a good comedian, what they do is reveal truth in some way. Like, if it elicits laughter from the crowd, it's often because the comedian has named something that's not supposed to be named in public, but everybody knows, about the human condition or about the state of their heart, or, how selfish we all actually are. And we laugh because we know it's true.
Yeah. Like the jester of old was the only one who could get away with some digs at the king.
Yes. Exactly.
Look at the king's fat belly.
Yeah. And the king has a fat belly.
And if peasant Jim came up and said fat belly king,
yeah, off with his head. That's right. That's right. So I'm inclined to say, well, let me think, have I been offended by jokes before? Have you? Have you found yourself listening to a comedian, found yourself outraged at all? I remember years ago feeling that way a bit with some of Ricky Gervais's stuff and how he talks about religion and Christianity, and taking that a little personally back, because he was quite militant, and is quite militant, and I guess I was quite sensitive.
Yeah.
But nowadays I wouldn't. Nowadays, I'm fine to hear any joke about religion or Christianity, I think, without taking it
Well, it depends
personally.
on what I might choose to, like, maybe I didn't find it funny, and then I stopped listening to that comedian henceforth.
Mm-hmm.
That's
sure.
Or I'm at the point where, like, oh, that's such a dumb caricature.
Yeah.
That's not at all, like, you're just kind of like, you seem dumb.
Yeah.
Like you're misinformed about religion.
That's the straw man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I felt that as well.
So, I mean, maybe those would be cases. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But it's not because it's a taboo topic.
I have not really received a ton of personal attacks on myself or my family.
Do you remember when we went to that comedy club, mate? You did get personally attacked. Listen, I'm going to tell everybody about this story because it's great.
Okay.
We were in New York City in 2012 or 2013, me, Clint, and a couple of mates, and First of all, they got us because we went to Times Square and there's a guy there, all kinds of guys trying to get you to go to their comedy club. And this guy sold us because he's like, you never know who's going to be there. Ray Romano was there recently. Jerry Seinfeld shows up sometimes.
Well.
Okay, mate. So maybe we'll see someone famous. So we went to Dangerfield's Comedy Club in New York City.
It's famous.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's dingy, small little thing. We got in with fake IDs or something. I can't remember. We were underage at the time, but
You guys were.
we were.
Australian.
They were like, just show me something. Show me something. Just show me your credit card. I was like, sure. So anyway, we're in there. And Clint, I don't know why you were wearing this, man. He was wearing, he loves his sandals, his big sandals. And he's wearing socks.
Big old tall
Sandals
crew
and
socks.
socks. And you mustn't have been wearing, must have been wearing shorts or something.
I was.
Like basketball shorts or something very obvious.
I looked like a real goof troop.
And he called you out from stage. He called you a Neanderthal. He pointed out your socks. He drew attention to everybody in the room. Look at this Neanderthal wearing socks. So you have been attacked by a comic on stage, personally.
That's true.
And
Wow.
you giggled your way through it, if I recall.
Yeah,
You laughed at yourself. You didn't get up there and slap him, that's for sure.
No. He was right.
That's part of what, he was right.
I don't recall him being that funny about it.
He wasn't funny in general.
Yeah, but he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
I looked like a fool. So, but like deep personal digs at my family or myself, I haven't really experienced that, and I don't think Chris's joke amounts to that.
No. I'm trying to imagine, is there a joke someone could tell that would make me want to slap him? Because it's too real. It's actually not a joke. Like,
And also setting, does that matter? So
It
I've heard
does.
some people have the take like, actually, if Chris Rock had made that joke to me walking down the street, I would have hit him, but I would not. I heard a comedian say that, but I'm at the Oscars, dude. Like I can't. Let's show some class, some respect for the setting I'm in.
yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it just speaks a lot to what do these people think they can get away with? Like our cultural elites, how seriously they take themselves. What does this mean for comedy? It's been shocking for me to see how many people have come out in support of Will Smith.
Other comedians? How are the other comedians in the world responding here?
Oh my word. They are almost unanimously just roasting the crap out of Will Smith.
Okay, they get it. They get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite ones are just so scathing.
Really?
Yeah.
Who? Tell me who to listen to.
Tom Segura is my
Tom
favorite.
Segura. I figured it would be Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He
It's
just opened his tour and started by saying at one of the shows, "You're gonna hear some things tonight that you're not gonna like, and you better stay in your seat."
Yeah.
I'm not saying I can fight or anything, but I will bite your nose off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For me, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty clear. Chris had a job to do. He was doing his job. He was hired to tell jokes at the Oscars and roast celebrities.
I thought he was masterful. What a recovery!
Really?
I mean,
Masterful?
To not like fight, to not hit back,
Oh,
to
sure.
not clap back. And the
Clap back.
like. Now I'm gonna like really let you have it.
Oh, sure.
Like verbal, like with jokes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will put your wife's name further into my mouth.
Because you could tell there was this moment where he wanted to go, like he was gonna just go ad lib
Yeah.
and destroy him. He's after Will says the second, "Get my wife's name out of your mouth," Chris is like, "I could," and then he
cuts it off.
he was like ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I guess that's all I have.
I guess it's not theater.
But I just thought it was. I mean, everyone's talking about it. I thought it was momentous. It says something about,
It's definitely more interesting than I thought at first blush. I should have paid more attention. I didn't realize so many people were supportive of Will's choice to do that. I kind of thought we were all laughing about Will's crazy overreaction, but I guess half of us aren't.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see. There was one from the New York Times that they connected it to white supremacy in some way, but I'm not remembering it right now. But here's one I found real quick. USA Today, Will Smith and the unfair burden black men face is what's coming out right on the heels. So this is 3 days after the slap.
Okay.
The public's reaction to Will Smith's Oscar slap underscores the unique burdens felt by black men when they do something wrong, particularly in public. And like
Right.
that's the headline.
Yeah.
The takeaway.
I'm not sure what any of this has to do with race. You know?
Oh, well,
That's why I'm wondering how'd they get
they're
there.
ready to tell you about it.
Yeah.
After Will Smith slapped presenter Chris Rock for making a cruel joke about his wife Jada, who suffers from alopecia, many people denounced Smith for reacting with violence. But the critiques quickly became racially charged, and experts in racial stereotypes say many of the responses, particularly among white people, were rooted in anti-blackness.
Oh man.
I am
wonder
certain that if
been-
one white man slapped another during the Oscars, the world would be buzzing about it too. But the buzz would be different. It wouldn't be racialized. When white men act badly, their actions aren't attributed to their race. Because Will Smith and Chris Rock are both black men, so much of the conversation about their altercation is being characterized as black male violence, which is unfair.
Is it? That's what people are talking about.
I don't.
It doesn't seems really besides the point to me what color their pigment is.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, like what I brought up at the beginning, I think the reaction would be different if it had been a white person showcasing the opposite of this.
The opposite.
The unfair burden placed on black men.
Wow, man.
Think of how different the burden would be for the white person who had done that.
Mm-hmm.
This is wrong.
Yeah, seems
It's
wrong.
a bad opinion, and you shouldn't have been published. It's not. It's so dumb because it wasn't thought
What
through.
paper was that?
USA Today.
Yeah, that's a big.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big paper.
Okay, I shouldn't say that. It can be published, but it's
But it's wrong.
yeah. If I were the editor, I'd be like, oh, kind of a bad take. Oh man.
Man.
But yeah, just
Well, thanks for opening my eyes to at least some more of the significance. I really had brushed it off as the Oscars' last gasp, trying to reclaim viewers.
I think it's opening the. I don't know if we've seen the end of it. I think it's a cultural moment that will mark discussions of what's the role of comedy, what are we allowed to joke or not joke about, how are you allowed to respond, and it's been amazing, to see the disagreement and where people stand on it.
I don't know if I'd asked you if you had ever been personally offended by a joke, but I don't know if I asked you, do you think there's any sacred cows, anything that shouldn't be joked about? What's your opinion?
No.
Or is comedy's a wide open field? The whole domain of human experience is fair game.
Well, it's like, what are we asking? I mean, I don't know if I get it. Like, can I?
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You may try to make humor out of anything.
Yes.
Whether people will respond positively to that is very much up in the air. And it depends on so much. Just the time and place and where people are at. What's the cultural moment?
Yeah.
Like, will it resonate?
And in this case, it did. The whole room laughed. Everybody laughed at that joke.
I think it was a polite. It's just kind of, I don't know.
It wasn't a great joke.
Yeah. It's almost more just like he's just a funny guy. And
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And just kind of, okay.
Yeah, okay, man.
So no, I don't think there's a sacred.
Nothing off limits. Make whatever mouth noises you want. You just might get slapped sometimes.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Well, you might.
Yeah, but I want there to be protection for
No slapping.
No, that's
Not for mouth noises.
No.
When can you slap?
It's not just mouth noises, because I do think there can be. Not all speech should be protected.
Say more.
We've done a whole episode on that.
Yeah, but say a bit more.
So the mouth noise of like immediate and present danger that you're causing by your use of words.
Yep.
Excuse me. Classic one is yelling fire in a crowded theater.
Yep.
The trampling that could occur from a stampede of people that was totally unnecessary, but only happened because you did the speech act.
Yeah.
That speech act is not, or at least should not be protected under the law. That is, you could be held liable for like prosecution were you to do that.
For causing a panic
Yeah.
when you.
So your speech is not free; it is coerced into negation. Don't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not compelled speech, was a whole different thing.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that should ever happen. But cases where you should be prevented from freely speaking, there are these cases.
Great.
Clear and present danger, inciting to violence. And this one's a little bit tough to know when that happens, but basically when your speech breaks, so to speak, is the straw that breaks the camel's back in something ensuing, like a riot.
Right.
And let's burn down the mansion.
Yeah.
And then everyone starts burning down the mansion. Like
You triggered it, kind of. Yeah.
And if you're kind of in charge of this rally,
Yeah, sure. Okay.
that your speech isn't protected.
Yep.
We've talked about libel. And there's a whole bunch
that's
of
right, we
legal.
did. We have a whole episode on it. Go check it out if you're
Yeah, yeah.
interested in more. But
And so I think that there should not be a fourth or fifth one called offensive comedy.
yeah, man. Well, offense in general, whether it's comedy or not. Like,
That is that kind of speech is protected. Now, where you get the kind of interesting debate area is on hate speech and what qualifies as that. And so, and this is where people, I think, just are talking past each other largely. They confuse hate speech with hateful speech, or a speech they don't like, or speech that's mean. So,
tease it out.
if Chris Rock knew that Jada had alopecia, it matters a little bit what the intent of the author is in delivering that joke. Then it is a little bit more mean-spirited, perhaps. But that doesn't make it hate speech, where you're, I don't have like a firm philosophical definition of it, but here's what about an example? The N-word.
Sure.
Would be a classic case of hate speech, where it's an utterance that is so charged with defamatory denigration, I don't know, casting aspersion on a whole category type of person, I guess. So so let's just say that that's what it is for a moment, and you can wonder, should that be outlawed? It's not protected.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I mean, there's
But if you're black, it's protected, right? It's just if you're white, you can't say it. Isn't that it? Isn't that the rule? I don't know. I'm not from here, but I think that's the rule.
Yeah. There's a number of, I mean, not all black people think it's okay to say.
Right. Okay.
They are just as much offended and upset
No matter
that
who
the
says it.
rappers are saying it.
We just want the word to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, man,
It's weird.
it's wondering whether. So the question is, or a couple of questions: are some jokes hate speech? Maybe. But then, and secondly, should hate speech be protected or not?
Yeah.
And to say it's not protected would mean you could be criminally prosecuted for using it.
Yeah.
For engaging in it. What counts as hate speech? That's where the real headache starts.
Yeah, it does.
To say the F word, the 3-letter F word, referring to a gay person.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay.
Like, is that
way
hate?
back in the Rolodex?
Is
Isn't that? But okay. So here's what's weird. Why are you allowed to say F word like that on YouTube, but you can't say fag? Like, you want me to think of the word fag. You want me to say it in my head.
I was thinking of that.
Yeah, I know. But you didn't say it out loud.
Oh.
You want to, you're still trying to lob the ball. Your authorial intent is to get me to have the thought fag.
Yes.
But you're uncomfortable saying it on the camera. Look, I don't know if any of this is going to make it into the episode, but I'm curious about this.
Right.
Why is that okay? Why can you say N-word?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, I'm going to call to mind the one you think, and we're both, we know what word you're talking about. Didn't you just effectively say it then?
Yeah, that's good.
I have trouble with this.
I've seen, I couldn't pull it up right now, but I've seen like pieces written about that phenomenon and how we should
Like if we're really trying to banish it from the lexicon, then don't reference it anywhere, not even the first letter of it.
Right.
Just erase it. I don't know, man. It seems like that just seems like a weird, like a loophole that it doesn't actually solve anything to call it N-word.
No.
You know, you're still referring to it.
And what's strange too, we've talked about this a little bit with swear words and just language. There is always going to be okay, not always. Words come about in order to capture human thought and emotion.
Yes.
Guardedly speaking, right? Mm-hmm. And so if there is a human emotion that is racist in nature, then some word is going to rise to the fore as this is the worst thing you could call that cast of people, right? And so for a while, that was the N-word, you know, and probably still is.
Yeah.
But if you that's why it doesn't quite make sense to like try to scrub it out of existence, only because it's not possible.
Racism will find an expression.
They'll find a new one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I do know what you mean.
Just like if you were to try to get rid of the F word or the C word or something like these really coarse swear words, something would come to the fore.
Take its place.
I'm reading this really interesting book actually by John McWhorter, linguist. I think it's called 9 Nasty Words, and it's the history of like 9 different swear words.
Oh yeah.
And he mentions there's this really like the F word wasn't always that bad.
Well, so I was going to say, surely the impact of those words changes over time.
Yeah.
Right?
Like bloody and damn used to be way, way worse.
Yeah, they did.
I think he said like there was a shift over the centuries in swearing from God to the groin. That like
okay.
That the worst swear words had to do with religion and God.
Yep.
And then it shifted to like more sexual, basal.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah.
And the reason it's offensive is because we all in this social sphere, we attach that word to a specific emotional intent or experience or something. I'm just trying to work out what is it that gives these words its power, and it's that we all agree on what it's referring to, right?
Not just what it's referring to, but we agree that it has that power.
Yeah.
Like the hierarchy.
Oh, sorry.
The power hierarchy of words. This one's the strongest.
Yep.
And someone's always going to be the strongest.
And now I'm just thinking about it. The only reason I know which words are at the top of that hierarchy is because people have told me, right? It's like I learned this word and someone said, "Don't say that. That's a bad word."
Yep.
It's like
You've had varying
that's the worst word. This is the second worst word.
Yes.
This is the third worst one, and then it gets a little blurry after that.
Right.
But someone told me, here's the hierarchy we're all obeying here in this society.
Or you've just kind of
language.
intuited it from how people respond when it's said. And
yeah. And that, I mean, there's been I've noticed difference coming from Australia to here. Things that I thought were not remotely offensive, apparently were offensive over here. Like, people would get upset about me saying damn or hell. And like in Australia, it's punctuation. It's nothing. They prefer darn or dang, I guess, over here.
Yeah, heck.
It seems so arbitrary to me. It's like,
would you have said heck in Australia?
I probably have as a joke, but yeah. No, I definitely said a lot more of damn and hell before I came over here. And I had to clean up my language. I realized I was offending everybody by accident. And the opposite is true. Bloody, at least, maybe it was just the circles I grew up in. Bloody was a little more coarse in Australia. But over here, it's kind of cheeky. It's like, oh, he's Australian, he's saying bloody, and then nobody's offended by it.
I think that's a carryover like from the religious part. I think it has ultimately something to do with Jesus. So much of the swearing has to do with
was it Gadzooks? God's hooks and
Gadzooks.
Gadzooks.
And now that's like it would be in a comic book. Gadzooks.
Exactly. So Magooba.
Yeah. Well, it's like it would be one of the worst things you could have said. Yeah. So to that point, it's like and it ties back into the comment from the previous podcast on church stuff, trying to find like this rule and like this is the worst or this is the best and exactly right way. It's just not. I just don't see that as how things play out.
It's a bit more fluid than that.
There's going to be a worst word.
Mm-hmm.
We need
necessarily, right?
We need something to express the highest kind of emotion through language.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that was, we got there from
Hate speech.
Yep.
And which speech should be protected.
So comedy then, if it is trying to point out the truths that some of us either don't have the language for, like, and that's why we find it so funny, like, oh, you've named that thing. Or speaking truth to power in these interesting ways, needs access to the range of human expression in order to do that, I guess. Now, that still very much might be unethical or inappropriate to use certain words. And, like, I'm not a huge fan of the N-word at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be used.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. Tie a bow on that for me then. So are you saying that you do think in comedy, not all comedy should be protected speech? Is that what you're saying? Like there are some words shouldn't use?
It's just like, the missing premise there was the separation between the legal and the moral.
Got it, yes.
So it's, I want it to be protected speech. So I think a comedian should be allowed to use the N-word. I don't think it's a good idea at all.
Yeah, got it.
I think it's a horrible choice.
Like you can't press charges, but still not the right thing to do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's good. I just wanted clarity.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, thanks.
Well, all that from the slap.
Oh, it was a Pandora's box, man. It really was. You were
the
right.
moment the palm touches the cheek, Clint was like, oh.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, thanks.
Cool. Yeah.
Thanks for getting me up to speed on culture. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you've got thoughts about this, if any of this was hate speech, by all means, write into the show.
If you're a Will Smith supporter,
wow. Yeah, Will Smith did nothing wrong. By all means, write into the show. Leave a comment on this video on YouTube if you're watching there, or you can write into us, mailbag@opentotruth.com. We would love to hear from you, and we'd love you to join the conversation. So thanks, and stay curious.